All right, so this evening we have a few items we want to talk about to clarify before our planned hybrid reopening on Monday, April 5th. So most important will probably be the schedule. So that's where we're going to start tonight. Go ahead and share my screen. Panelists, can you give me a thumbs up? Make sure that you can see my screen. We're good? All right, thank you. Okay, so I am going to try to explain our schedule. There were some very, very late changes. There were some changes, pretty significant ones that were confirmed today. So for the last month or so, you guys have been thinking that we would be returning with students either in a group on Monday and Tuesday or a group on Thursday and Friday. However, that has changed. So let me explain what the teachers union and the district negotiators agreed to today. So students will indeed be returning on April 5th, those who have indicated that they wanted to return in a hybrid schedule. Students will be placed in one of two stable groups, either stable group A or stable group B. If you look at the schedule all the way to the left-hand side, you will see some dates. So this will be the schedule that is in place from the dates April 5th through Friday, May 7th. At that time, students who are in stable group A will attend on Mondays and Thursdays. Students who are in stable group B will attend on Tuesdays and Fridays. We are still looking at final numbers coming in, but we believe that any student with the last name A through L will be in stable group A, and any student with the last name M through Z will be in stable group B. So you can see that students in stable group A will begin attending in person periods 1, 3, and 5. The students who are in stable group B will also be attending virtually on those days. So they will Zoom in to their periods 1, 3, and 5 class. On Tuesday, stable group B will come to campus for periods 2, 4, and 6. Stable group A would Zoom in for those periods 2, 4, and 6. As you can see, each of the periods in person is 70 minutes long. There is a 10-minute break in between. And then at 12:05, students will be exiting campus. They will have access to a grab and go lunch, which will include breakfast for the following day. You can see that there is a large gap between the exit from campus and their next period, which is period 7. And all students at 1:30 will be Zooming in virtually for period 7 on Mondays and Thursdays. So regardless of which stable group you're in, everyone Zooms in for period 7. On Tuesdays and Fridays, students could go to office hours with their teachers if they need assistance or clarification on something. And if they do not need to attend office hours, that would be a time for students to work on completing their assignments. What has been our current Monday schedule is being shifted to Wednesday. So we will continue to have an academic advisory. It'll go from 8:15 to 9:05. And then students will have the rest of the day to complete any current or outstanding assignments that they may have. Okay, hopefully that wasn't too confusing, and certainly we will make every attempt to make sure it is super clear before we reopen. I'm going to go to the next slide. So what you can see is that the days students attend shift beginning Monday, May 10th through the end of the school year, Thursday, June 10th. So students who were going to classes in person on Monday and Thursday will then come to classes on Tuesday and Friday from May 10th through June 10th. You'll see that the rest of the schedule remains the same. So the big shift for the last 5 weeks of school is that if you were attending in person on Monday and Thursday, you will now be attending on Tuesday and Friday. And if you were attending on Tuesday and Friday, you will now shift to attend on Monday and Thursday. All right. As we get ready before school, parents, we highly encourage you to screen your children for COVID-19 symptoms at home. If any of their brothers or sisters should come to are in the same school, you guys should come to the same point of entry. That will be assigned as we move forward. And when exiting your vehicle or coming on campus, whether that's walking or by bus, masks need to be worn on campus at all times, okay? Except if you are, taking a drink of water or something like that. Okay, school will look a little bit different. Students will be assigned an entry point to ensure that we don't have too many students coming on in one location at the school. So you'll have an enter and exit location. When students come on campus, they will go through a health screening where they will have their temperature checked. Okay, and there are directional arrows about explaining exactly which way students should go when they're moving from one class to another. You will see that hand sanitizer will be available in all classes. We recommend hand washing regularly throughout the day as well. If we take a look at the campus map, if you are familiar, the front of the school is on Grant Street. So if you could locate that on the bottom of the map, that is the main entrance into the school. If students are coming in there, you will see that there is a star where they will get their health screening, and then they should continue following the directional arrows to wherever their first class is. Some students will be asked to come on through the College Street entrance. And again, once they go through their screening, temperature screening, they would then proceed following the directional arrows to their class. Okay. And some students will also be coming on through the Fitch entrance. That'll include students who are arriving by bus. They will do their health screening near the entrance to the NPR. And again, we'll proceed straight to class following the directional arrows. All right. When students come onto campus, the classrooms will also look quite a bit different. I'll show you a picture here momentarily from one classroom, but desks are spread apart to maintain 6 feet of social distancing. Teachers will not be as mobile. They will be teaching from the front of the room. They have a plexiglass partition and other PPE to help keep them safe as well. All classrooms have air purification equipment to help keep the rooms, the air in the room sanitized throughout the day. And what is normally a huge part of learning at the middle school level, where we share ideas as well as materials, we will not be working in groups and sharing things, as students will stay at their individual workspaces. So as promised, here is a picture of one of the current classrooms at HJH after it has been rearranged for distance learning. As you can see, a lot more space, a lot fewer desks overall in the class to be able to ensure safe social distancing in the room. Okay, outside is going to look significantly different as well. So during student passing time, students will move directly from one class to the other. They will not have a traditional student lunch or break period. Okay, so students will be asked to exit their classroom and proceed to their next classroom immediately. We'll be helping to make sure that students in between classes are not intermingling with each other. Students will transition through no more than 3 stable groups every 5 weeks, as was demonstrated on the schedule. So students will only be on campus and stay in those same 3 classes for 5 weeks at a time. Furthermore, students will not meet in large groups. We will not have lunch or break. Students will remain with their classes. That way we can limit the number of interactions between students. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to our district nurses, Kristen Robinson and Varsi Hansen.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Varsi and I are both here to just kind of go through some of the things that Mr. Miller had talked about in some more detail. You know, throughout this year, we've been working with the Sonoma County Department of Public Health, along with the California Department of Public Health, just to get some protocols in place for when students are back on campus, which we're happy that that is going to be happening on April 5th. So there's a lot of details we might throw out at you. I do want everyone to know that all of the information is available online. It's on the district website. There is a COVID guide there, and there is a student and family handbook there. And you guys can all, you know, look towards that if you forget some of the details that I'm telling you here. So next slide, please. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is masking, which Mr. Miller had said is required on campus at all times. The only acceptable mask that we are permitting on campus are 2 to 3 ply face coverings. And the important thing about that, and we're going to partner with you and ask you to make sure you're telling your students that those masks stay on all day and they stay over your nose and your mouth. You know, we've had some time now practicing, but I know that, you know, it can be hard. So they might need that reminder. Sometimes they just, you know, I see your nose. We don't need to see your nose. Try to keep them up. And those face coverings can be disposable, or they can be cloth face coverings. If they are cloth face coverings, those do need to be washed daily. And there is further information about washing those in the student and family handbook. These are a few pictures of masks that are not acceptable to be worn on campus. The first here is a valved mask, which I know we saw a lot of that during the fire season, and that would be an appropriate mask to wear during that time because it's filtering the air that you're breathing, but then you're exhaling that air out towards everyone around you. So in regards to COVID, that's not an acceptable mask to wear. In addition, the bandanas and gaiters are not appropriate masks to wear either. A lot of them are single ply. And we are deciding that along with, you know, suggestions from the public health department that those are not to be worn on campus either. So this is an important list. This is when to keep your student home and not send your student to school. And there's quite a long list of symptoms here. But you know, the reason that we don't want anybody sick at school is because of the way that COVID spreads. You know, it's mainly through respiratory droplets. So we want to just, you know, not even have someone at school that might be coughing or have a runny nose. We just want to prevent that. That's, you know, one of the strategies that we're using to keep everybody safe and to keep everybody healthy. So please, when you're doing your symptom check with your student, or some of your students are probably can do them with themselves, these are the things you want to talk to them about, and this is when they should not be coming to school. So our cutoff for a fever is 100 degrees. They should not come to school if they have a fever of 100 degrees, fever or chills. No school if they're coughing, if they have a sore throat, any difficulty breathing, fatigue, muscle or body aches. Not being able to taste or smell, that's kind of a big one, because that's different than just your standard cold or strep throat or ear infection. You know, not being able to taste or smell is something very specific to COVID. Please don't send them to school either if they have a headache, congestion or runny nose, nausea or vomiting, or diarrhea. And all of this is listed in our family handbook if you need to go back to it. Or if you have a question about something, you can always call the front office or talk to Varsi or myself about that. Varsi is going to talk for a little bit now.
So this next slide speaks to, should I send my student to school if? So we ask that you not come to school if your student, you, or anyone else in your household has, number one, signs and symptoms of COVID-19 in the past 10 days. So those are all the symptoms that Kristen just described. Number two, do not come to school if your student, you, or anyone else in the house has been in close contact. So that's within 6 feet for more than 15 minutes total with someone who is COVID-19 positive or has been told by a healthcare provider to get tested for COVID-19 in the past 14 days. And number three, do not come to school if your student, you, or anyone else in your household has tested positive for COVID-19 in the past 2 weeks. Next slide, please. And this is a really important point when you're doing your symptom checks in the morning before you send your kids to school. When in doubt, do not send your student to school. Keep them home and call the front office. So if you're ever kind of on the fence about a symptom and you're not sure, when in doubt, just keep them home, call the front office. We can always work it out with Kristen or myself. We can advise you maybe if if we think your student needs to be COVID tested, or if they need a note stating those are allergy symptoms. But when in doubt, don't send them to school. And the other point, we ask, please don't give Tylenol, Advil, Motrin, Aleve, or any other medication that suppresses symptoms and send your child to school. So that's also medicines for diarrhea, medicines for nausea, anything that would suppress symptoms. We ask that you not do that. Next slide, please. So basically, this is what happens if a student is sick at school. So if your student, you sent them to school, they passed their symptom check, they didn't have a temperature, they're at school in the middle of the day, and they have a fever all of a sudden. What's going to happen is that the teacher is going to call our front desk, and a member of our COVID team is going to put on personal protective equipment. So that's a gown, a mask, a face shield, and gloves. And they will come and pick the student up outside their classroom, and they will escort them to one of our care rooms. And those are specially prepared rooms we have on campus for students who have suspected COVID. And this trained professional will assess your student. And if they decide that you need to come and pick them up, we'll give you a call. We'll ask that you come to school. We'll ask you to stay in your car, and then we'll escort your student out to the car. If you're called to pick up your student, please come and pick your student up within 30 minutes of a call of when we call you. Please have your emergency contact list up to date. We're going to continue to go down the list until we connect with someone. Your student will be by themselves in a room with this trained professional waiting for you to come and get them. And as far as your student returning to school, our COVID team will work with you on when your student can return to school. So either we can suggest testing, and we'll figure out the set amount of time that needs to pass before your student can come back. And of course, this is all done with guidance from the Sonoma County Department of Public Health. Next slide, please. This one's Kristen's.
Many of you have probably seen this form. This is a medication authorization form. And so if any of your students are taking medication at school, this form needs to be filled out by your student's physician and signed by you at the bottom. And then it can be kept in our health office. The only medications that students can have in their backpack are EpiPens and inhalers. And if your student is going to have that on campus in their backpack, that's fine. We do still need this form filled out. And so students, if they have a medication that is a scheduled medication, that will be an appointment that is made with the health office in the front. They'll still be able to go to the health office to get their medication. So just want everyone to be reminded of that. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, at the end of the day, oftentimes in normal times, students like to kind of linger around, make some plans with their friends. Where are they going to go? What are they going to do? But that is not the case when we return under our hybrid schedule. So students will receive a grab and go lunch with breakfast for the next day if they so desire to take it. And then students are expected to exit immediately through whatever exit they are assigned. And so there will not be any lingering on campus. Students will need to maintain their face covering as they exit campus until they are in their own vehicle with their parent. And even on the bus, they should maintain their mask. And if they're walking home, public orders would still be to be masked while in public. So students will exit immediately after school ends. Okay, we will be doing regular deep cleanings of school at the end of each instructional day. This is an example of an electrostatic fogging machine that will be used to help sanitize the rooms. Bathrooms will be cleaned multiple times throughout the day. They will be cleaned top to bottom at the end of each day. We'll remove garbage, wipe down all touch points, multiple points during the day, but again, at the end of the day when all students have left, and all rooms will be mopped and vacuumed as well. So we will be doing a thorough cleaning of each room each day. All right. Before I end, I will say that the next steps that we have as a school are to complete the schedules for each student and assign them where they which days they will be going. We will be in contact with each family to let you guys know exactly which stable group your child is in. And some of you may be tuning in tonight to get information, but are also choosing to keep your child in distance learning, which is also perfectly acceptable. Lastly, before returning to campus, everyone will need to complete a parent compact if they're going to come on campus. We will be getting that form out to you in multiple ways. It'll be available. We'll put a link on our Facebook. We will send it to you as well through our automated system. And so you will need to complete that prior to having your child return to campus. All right. Is there anything I have missed for the good of the order, Ms. Varsi?
We just wanted to really quickly mention that non-essential travel is still recommended. It's still not recommended to take on travel that's not essential. So if you're traveling 120 miles outside of Sonoma County, our travel quarantines are still in place. So please remember that when you're planning for spring break trips. Thank you.
All right. Well, I thank you guys all for attending our virtual town hall tonight. And as always, if you have additional questions, please feel free to call our school office or you can email me, cmiller@husd.com. Have a good evening.